Namaste and welcome to the eighth session of the storytelling series by the regional level guides of Western region organized by India Tourism Mumbai. In fact, India Tourism Mumbai had started this webinar series on this theme storytelling by regional level guides to talk about the unique experiences this region offers including some great places of interest. In fact, over the past few weeks, we have been receiving amazing feedback from the listeners how these storytelling sessions have taken them back on time machine and how eager they are to visit the destinations that have been featured in these stories. In fact, such encouraging feedbacks really makes this effort of us truly fruitful, and we are really grateful to all our storytellers who have taken time out, done some amazing research, and come back with very professional presentations across the various sessions. Um, and going forward, I look forward to have more such sessions continuing. In fact, storytelling and tourism go hand in hand. I've been repeating this continuously over my last introductions, and that this is because stories create a connection, and we have all been used to listening stories since our childhood, and how we still remember some of these stories which we have heard years and years ago. And this is also true that telling stories about our destination attractions, etc., especially for those in the tourism business, helps the potential tourist or travelers to understand why they should visit a place. Thus, storytelling about destination is a special task. It requires special skills. It's not that anybody and everybody can tell a story and just weave or keep the listeners spellbound. So it needs special talent, and of course, our regional level guides who have been very experienced in taking tourists across to our destinations, know the places like palm of the hand, have mastered this art from time to time. In fact, the storytelling series is now also become a part of marketing or advertising. It has become a be important tool. Many of the management schools have gone back to this age-old tradition of storytelling to so as to create an influence on their prospective customers. Thus, this is because the storytelling really engages with the customers and helps them understand the product, in our case the destinations. And as storytelling can be in various methods, but now during this pandemic time when we really can't travel much, or we are all confined to at some point at our home due to some restrictions, the digital media has really given us this opportunity. And today our story is titled Madhya Bharat, Central India, which will touch upon the marvels of this region, for which is all open and set for the travelers to explore. And to tell the story, we have with us Mr. Anurag Shukla, uh, who is from Khajuraho in Chhatarpur, but today he is narrating the story sitting in a very important tourist site of Madhya Pradesh, the Orsha. And to briefly introduce Mr. Anurag, I would say that he is a very senior guide who got his license from the Ministry of Tourism in 1996. Since then, he has been extensively kind of helping the travelers understand and appreciate our culture, history, tradition, etc. through his own storytelling to them. He is also an expert in Hindu iconography, Hindu temple art and architecture, and also Indian philosophy. And he has also worked extensively on the Chandela history, art, heritage, and the iconography of Khajuraho temple since 1996. With this, without taking much time, I would now invite Shri Shukla to weave and keep us all spellbound with the stories from the Madhya Bharat, Central India. Over to you, Mr. Anurag Shukla. And I also thank all of you who have joined in today. It is your support which is keeping us going. We have been seeing overwhelming number of participants both here and also on our Facebook page who are listening to our stories. Once again, I now welcome Sri Anurag Shukla to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkatesh sir. And thank you, Bhavana madam. You gave another chance to me to tell something more beyond Khajuraho. And thank you, Parul ma'am, for technical assistance. Always she helped me to work with Indiatourism. It was a great experience for me. It's really very new for us, but it's really great experience for us to tell the story of different places. So, like today, I got a challenge to tell about the story of Madhya Bharat, Central India. And Madhya Bharat or Central India is not a small place. It's not a small town. It's a whole state. And we saw a lot of beautiful advertisement from Madhya Pradesh tourism. MP गजब है अजब है सबसे गजब है एक नहीं दो नहीं सैकड़ों यहाँ शेर हैं. So like we saw beautiful advertisement from MPT. So I just put this tagline. And it was, I'm again thankful for Vauna ma'am. She was asking like, Anu, please tell something like, I listened a song. Please add that one. I said, of course, I will find out. And luckily, I got it. So I put Madhya Pradesh MP Ajab hai. So today I will start from a destination, as Sir said, I'm sitting in Orcha. Why I'm in Orcha, that I will tell you later, but I'm going to start with the introduction of Madhya Pradesh. So my second slide is here. So the area of Madhya Pradesh, earlier it was biggest state of this country, but now it's second one. And the total area of this state is 3,08,000 square kilometer. And it is a state which has one of the earliest mountain ranges of the world, Vindhyachal and Satpuras. And second, it was a shelter of prehistoric man. And the rishis like Agastya Rishi and Atri Rishi, they were living on the vicinity of Satpura and Vindhyachal mountain ranges. And a single kingdom or any chapter of Indian history cannot be seen or cannot be explained without Madhya Bharat. When the South Indian Gangachol were crossing and going to north, they conquered some part of central India. Or Magdha king was crossing from east and going to west. They also conquered the central India. So without crossing central India, you can't move any part of this country. And it was formed as a Madhya Pradesh in 1st November 1956. And now today's it is covered with five major states called Rajasthan towards northwest, Uttar Pradesh towards north, Chhattisgarh towards southeast, Gujarat on west, and Maharashtra and southwest corner. So these are some important states, those cover around the Madhya Pradesh. And if you will see geographically, it is divided in 5 major regions called the Malwa, which connects the Rajasthan and Gujarat, the Rajasthan, Gujarat, and some part of Maharashtra. And second one is called Bundelkhand. It touches the north part of India. It touches that the UP, Uttar Pradesh. The Bagilkhand is a little bit central part of India, and the Chambal is called the that's Gwalior region, and the Mahakoshala is the Jabalpur region. So we have the 5 major regions in this state. And what are the specialties of this state? So if you follow the dots, all those are very special specialties of this state. Like it is a state which has the 2 Jyotirlingas, Mahakaleshwar and Omkareshwar. The most interesting thing about Mahakal is the god which is beyond the time. You can say that the Mahakal or the Ujjain was time point where we can doing the journey of time, what's called the time machine. Second, the first sound of the universe is called Om. So Lord Shiva himself is sustaining or existing in this state as the Prana or Omkar. So that's why that's called Omkareshwara. Then the rock shelters we have. So we know just one heritage site in India is called Bhimbetka or the prehistoric monuments, but we have many more, like especially in Satpura and Vindhyachal mountain ranges. We don't just have one, we have the numbers of mountain ranges or the rock paintings. Then third is the pilgrimage. It is really very interesting. We just not have the Shiva places. We also have the Rama, like Chitrakoot and Orcha. We have the temple of Krishna. We have a special religion or sect. Cult was developed in this state called the Pranami. Muhammadi Prana started his religion from the central India. Then after we have a lot of beautiful mosques and churches, everything we have in this state. Then if really you want to see the tiger, you should come to visit in Madhya Pradesh. It is called Mowgli's land. We just not have a one single sanctuary. We have 30 sanctuaries in this state with 9 national parks. About the natural beauty, as I said, it has beautiful mountain ranges. So we have beautiful waterfalls, we have beautiful jungle, safaris, everything we have in this area with Pachmadi hill station. Historical fort and palaces, different king and kingdoms constructed two beautiful palaces from early to late in 18th century AD. Then the love stories, we have the 3 main royal love stories. So today I will try to explain some beautiful love stories to you. Then I don't know why other people don't talk about the music. Music is the part of Indian culture. And it is a beauty of Indian music. It was never destroyed or finished. It was modified because there were the gurus and their gurus were following some discipline. Later, those teachers converted that school as gharanas. So I'm very pleased to inform you, like we have the 2 beautiful gharanas of music. One is called Gwalior Gharana, which was started by great maestro of Indian vocal music called Tansen. The second was Baba Lauddin. We know the Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla, who was a great maestro of sitar, and the Baba Lauddin from Maihar was his teacher. So Maihar is also a very famous gharana. Even my eldest brother, Mr. Balram Shukla, he just got some training of sitar from this gharana. Then I think that's after that Golconda, Madhya Pradesh is only a state which also have the diamond. And the Panna is that place where we have the diamond mines. People can find the diamond mines in this area. Then about the stones, minerals, it is full of rich with all kind of minerals and other material. And the last one is textile industry. People know about the Kajivaram silk, about the Banarsi sari, but Madhya Pradesh also have the 2 schools of weaving called Chanderi and Maheshwari. So these are 2 indigenous silk weaving center in this state with Bagh painting. We have the block painting in the Bagh. So that's something very special which we have in this state. So as I said, in the last lecture, I left something that was the Bundelas and the Gwalior. And luckily, what was happened with me, I don't know what was happening with me, I don't know. Like, I completed my first lecture on Khajuraho, and the second very close center with us is called Orcha. And after independence, just this year, in 2020, the Indian Prime Minister just founded the foundation stone in Ayodhya. And I'm not sure, but I don't know how many people know about Orcha. As per the local dialect, we believe that the Ram lives in 2 different places. Ram lived Orcha in the days, and he returned back to his home at night at Ayodhya. So I will start my story from Orcha. So my next slide is from Bundelkhand or Orcha. So you're watching this beautiful, colorful complex. It was Rani Palace, Queen Palace, but now it is called Ram Raja Temple, where Lord Rama is residing. And it has a really very, very interesting story. And really, you will enjoy that story. I'm coming on the next slide over here. Just look at over here. I mentioned the Rama Raja Temple. You're watching one icon in the center. This was not developed by the local artisan of Orcha. It came from Ayodhya. And how it is, it has very interesting story. As per the story, that Madhukar Shah was ruling in this Orcha during 1545. And his wife was Ganesh Kuri. She was a great devotee of Lord Rama, but Madhukar Shah was a devotee of Lord Krishna. So once, just king asked to queen, "Oh, my great lady, I saw the Lord Krishna in my dream, and I want to make a trip. I want to do the pilgrimage. at Vrindavan. But you know what happened? The queen said, I'm sorry, king. I'm a devotee of Lord Rama. So I will not surrender to the Krishna. So the king became very angry and upset. And he said, okay, that's fine. If you are the great devotee of Rama, you should leave this state and go to the Lord Rama. And you can come back only in one condition, when your Rama with you, unless you don't come. So she left the Orcha, went to Ayodhya, started penance, asking everyone, where is the Rama? Where is the Rama? I want to Rama. But she didn't get any response from the town. So then what she did? She decided to commit suicide. So she moved to Saryu River. When she was just approaching to the river and just going to jump, and the next moment she listened a voice of young baby, a boy. He said, Mama, mother, ma, stop, stop. So she just stopped because one baby was crying over there, and she turned. Then she asked, who are you? Then that baby said, I am Rama. So she questioned that, are you really Rama? Then Rama said, yes, mother, you are searching me. That's why I came over here. So then she said, you should come with me. I want to show you to my people. But the Rama said, mother, I'm ready to go with you, but there are 3 conditions. First condition is that this whole procession will start in very auspicious day. It's called Pukhya Nakshatra or Pushya Nakshatra. So whole journey should be covered in that duration. Second, you will not use any transportation. You will carry me as like a mother in your lap. So how long you will carry in your lap, I will move. But the moment when I will touch the ground, I will not move. I will stop. She said, that's fine. I'm ready to do that. And this whole thing was happened in her dream. The moment when she just became conscious, she found there was a beautiful idol of Lord Rama. So she just sent this message to the king. I got the Rama. I'm coming very soon. And that time we were not using any kind of a car or gypsy, whatever. It was a long walk. So the construction of temple started in Orcha. So she was moving and chanting the prayer of Rama, and all the sant and the Gojaris and the local people also moved with the queen. And the construction of temple started in Orcha. But when she arrived, it was a little bit late evening. So as per the Hindu custom, we can't place that icon in the temple. So she carried that icon inside her palace. And because now Lord Rama already reached in the town, so she was now very happy, very pleased. In that state of mind, she lost, and she put the figure in a place, in her bedroom. In the next morning, the whole crowd, all people of surrounding of Orcha were visiting and chanting the prayer of Rama. Now Rama is just coming and just going to install in the main temple. That's now called Chaturbhuj temple. But that figure was not moved. Then the queen realized that I'm in a mistake. I did a mistake. So as per the Hindu rules in that time, only one male was allowed in the bedroom of the queen. That was the king. So that's why here the Lord Rama became the Rama Raja. The king became the servant of Rama. So that palace, Queen Palace, was converted as a temple of Rama. It's called Rama Raja Temple. And it is the only temple in this universe where Rama is worshipped as the king of a state. Until today, after independence, we offer the guard of honor at the morning arati and the evening arati. So still state guard are employed there. And when the gate of temple opens for the prayer, first the guard pay the guard of honor, then the prayer starts. So it is the beauty of this town. Now I'm coming about my backslide. So it was the capital of Bundelkhand in 1530. Like Rudra Pratap Singh came from Gadkundhar. The earlier capital of Bundelkhand was Gadkundhar. So they shifted their capital from Gadkundhar to Orcha in 1531. Why it is called Orcha? Because when the king came over here, he found this space is very short. So that's why it's called the Orcha. So he started construction of Raja Mahal, or the palace, and the palace of king, and then Jahangir Mahal is another palace, Rani Mahal or Ram Raja Temple, Chaturbhuj Temple, which was constructed for Lord Rama. Then Lakshmi Temple, it is a Lakshmi Narayan Temple. It has a beautiful architecture and it has beautiful painting. Then the Chhatris are the place where all royal kings or queens were cremated, and they constructed beautiful cenote. So about this slide, you can see it is called Palace Complex. So if you'll follow this upper photo, you can notice here we have one structure. It is called Raja Mahal, and just on the left side, it is called Sheesh Mahal because it is fully covered with tiles, blue and turquoise blue tiles. It was guest house where all the royal guests were standing, and just opposite to this building, there's a big pillar hall. So beautiful dancer were performing dance for the king or the guest, and here it is called Jahangir Mahal. And you're watching the lower photograph in which you're watching, it is the courtyard of Jahangir Mahal. So you can see beautiful dome structures are there. So there are the four floors are there. One basement there, the ground floor is there, then the first floor is there. In the first floor, we have the 8 chambers. 4 are in the main direction, 4 are in the corner direction. So that's why we have the 8 courtyards. So there are 8 courtyards in the first uh, floor, and those are for the king. So king was living during the time of rainy season or during the summer season at the first floor, but during the winter season, he was coming in the ground floor. But another floor is there, third floor is there, like you can see the second floor. So which has a beautiful space. So king can enjoy the rain. He can see the beauty around that building. And all those structures, all those rooms or chambers have beautiful paintings, beautiful stucco art, and a lot of beautiful Indian stories are also mentioned there with the enamel work. A lot of geometrical decoration is with enamel work. But look at this. As I said, these chambers are painted with colorful paintings. So generally in these paintings, they have beautiful stories of Ramalila or the stories of Puranas like Samudra Manthan. They have stories of social culture. So a lot of stories are painted in the bedroom of the king or at the drawing room of the king or in different places of the palaces. So there are the 3 main buildings which have beautiful paintings like Raja Mahal. If you're watching these paintings in this photo or on this slide, it is from Raja Mahal. It is from the drawing room of the king. The second one is Lakshmi Temple. So I will show the next photo, that slide. It's really very interesting. Then after Jahangir Palace. So here we have Lakshmi Temple or Lakshmi Narayan Temple. It is very unique, very rare, very special architecture of Orcha. It has a combination of Hindu, Indo-Islamic, and the Western architecture. So actually it is in diamond shape. It is in diagonal structure. So there are the 4 arms, and at the center of those 4 arms, there's a big tower, like the Gothican tower is in the center. So that's the temple. And all the galleries are very much like in the churches. But if you will pay attention over here, just in the top, it is decorated as the beak of eagle or the Garuda. So actually this whole structure is made in the form of eagle or the Garuda. So the first is the head of the Garuda. Then the side are the wings of the Garuda. And the center where the Lord Vishnu is residing with the Lakshmi on the back of Garuda. So it's a really very beautiful architecture. And all 4 different galleries are dedicated for different kind of paintings. Like in the first gallery, they depicted the story of Ramalila or Ramayana. In the second gallery, they depicted the story of Krishna. In the third gallery, they depicted the story of goddess and the different mythical stories. With that, the last one is dedicated to the society. So like how the Mughals were living, how they were doing hunting, how they were fighting, which kind of dresses were there, which kind of hairstyle was there. All you can see over here. But the most interesting thing is here. I never seen this kind of painting in any monument where they depicted English man. Generally, all those monuments of this city are constructed during 15th to 16th century AD. And the British, especially the East India Company, was introduced during the time of Jahangir. And Jahangir was very nice friend of Orcha king. So might be the artisan saw the British officers at the court of Jahangir, and that Veer Singh Judeo was very impressed with those people. That's why might be, he said to depict these people on the drawing, on the painting. So look it over here. Here we have the three rows. At the upper rows, all these are the sepoy. So when the Indian soldiers dress themselves with a special cap, is called the sepoy. They are keeping the guns with a small box of gunpowder, and all British officers are riding on horses. Their dress is a little bit different. They are wearing big boots and different kind of pajama. Then you can see again the officers are marching with Indian soldiers. So it is something very unique, very rare, which I decided to show you.
अनुराग जी आपका म्यूट हो गया है, कैन यू अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ?
That's clear, ma'am?
हाँ, right.
That's fine. So if I will say, Orcha is the only place where we have the four different dimensions of love. The extreme love is called the devotion. So you listen in the first story how the queen was devoted to her lord. The second devotion is, second relationship comes between the man and woman. So the story of Indrajit and Rai Praveen shows that love, the surrenderness of a lady to her master. The third dimension is there where a brother-in-law sacrificed his life for the purity of relationship, and he took the poisonous food for the sake of relationship, and she took the food from his sister-in-law. So that story is also here. And the last one is called the friendship. So here Veer Singh Judeo, for the sake of his friend Jahangir, he murdered the commander of Akbar. His name was Abul Fazl. And then he constructed beautiful palace, Jahangir Palace, to him as a memory of friendship. So four dimension of love you can see only in this town. That's the Orcha. So now I'm coming about the story of Indrajit and Rai Praveen. It's really very, very funny and very interesting. Maybe you will enjoy it. So as per the story, Rai Praveen was a student of great poet of Bundelkhand, Keshav Sen. And she was a beautiful lady. She was a great poetess also. She was a dancer. And as you know, that was time of Akbar. And Akbar had a lot of interest about the artisan, like Tansen was in his court. So when he got this information, there's a beautiful lady and that she's a beautiful dancer and she's also a great poetess. So he realized that she should be in my court. So as his was practice, he just summoned to the state of Orcha and asked to this lady, he asked this lady, Rai Praveen should be sent at my court. So king was in love and both were in love, so king denied. He said, no, I will not leave my brother, beloved. So then Akbar sent his army with the commanders and gave a one single option to him. You should ready for war or just send this lady. So then all ministers convinced him it will be not good fate for this state if you will not release this lady. So then after, Rai Praveen just left this state, went at the camp of Akbar. But before to reach at the court of Akbar, she wrote a poem and just sent as a message in his court. And as we know that Akbar was not literate, he could not read and write. And it was in Hindi, not in Urdu. So all people can't read that time. So then the Birbal was there. So when Birbal saw the poem, he just laughed, smiled, and just asked to Akbar, "My lord, please, sorry, I can't read it. If I will read, I will not explain it." So with the curiosity, Akbar asked that, "What happened? Why are you saying like this thing? What is wrong with this message?" Then Akbar said, "Sir, he is very clever. I'm just going to translate what is in this poem. I'm going to recite that poem to you. Then you will decide what should we have to do." So if you read down, I wrote down over there, "Binti Rai Praveen ki Sunyo Shah Sujan, Jhuti Patra Bhakat hain, Bari Bias Swan." So her name was Rai Praveen. So she is just requesting to Shah Sujan or Akbar, "Oh Lord, as per our tradition, the waist of king or the leftover of the king is just taken by the three people or three persons. Bari, as per the local tradition, Bari is attendant who take care of the king or the servant of the king, private king, servant of the king. Bias is called the crow. The swan is called the dog." So as per her poem, she is saying, "I am the leftover of the king," and someone who will just take off that, he could be a peon of the king or the servant of the king, or he is a dog or the crow. So sir, if you will just accept her, so you should decide what you are. So king was like, Akbar was upset. What the nonsense is this? But at the second moment, he was smiled. She's really very clever. So with the full respect and love, he just returned back to her, and she came with full respect over this at this town. Then the king made this beautiful palace. Now it's called Rai Praveen Mahal. It is beautiful garden, beautiful fountains are there, and beautiful paintings are also inside. And beautiful courtyard and hall is there where she was performing dance for the king. Now I'm leaving the Orcha and going for the next slide. So like when you're leaving Orcha going towards north, so first Jhansi comes where the Queen of Jhansi was living, another fort we have over there, but now it is in Uttar Pradesh, so I will not talk, I will not discuss. Next of Orcha, next of Jhansi, there is Datia. And Datia was the initial seat of Veer Singh Yudheo, and it has some beautiful fort. It has a beautiful palace. You can notice over here, beautiful palace is there. It is called Satkhanda. It has 7th floor, or Panchamahal because it has a proper 5 floor inside the palace. Also, it is called Govinda Mahal or Veer Singh Yudh Palace. It is a beautiful structure. Also, when you will enter in this building, you can see the painting, the color of ceiling is so beautiful. Beautiful geometrical decoration design is there. So it's really very beautiful architecture. But now what I'm doing, I'm just noticing that now we are very short of the time. So now I should be a little bit fast. So now I'm catching the train from Jhansi and running towards Gwalior. Then I will fly from Gwalior to other part of Madhya Pradesh. So please, sorry if I'm a little bit faster. So I'm going to now explain about the rest part of this state. So here you're watching a goddess. She is called Pitambara or Baglamukhi. So in Hinduism, we have Mahavidyas like Baglamukhi, Dhumavati, Kamakhya. Then we have one Chinnamasta, Kali or Bhadrakali. All those are the Mahavidyas. So two Mahavidyas are in Datia. There was a great saint, his name was Maharaj Balkhandi, who just initiated or just did the sadhana of Baglamukhi and Dhumavati. So we have the two Mahavidyas in this town. So if anyone is interested in Tantric sadhana, they can visit in Datia. From next to Datia, there is a Gwalior. As per information, it is the birthplace of, I think, Bhavna madam. So she was very interested about the Gwalior. She was asking about the Gwalior. So here is the Gwalior, and Gwalior is famous for the fort of Gwalior. And that The timing of Gwalior is very old. Like I read the inscription in Khajuraho, where Gand is mentioned about a fort. The name of fort was Peet Durg. So the stone of this fort is a little bit yellowish in color. That's why it is known as a Peet Durga. So from 10th century AD till to 18th and 19th century AD or till today, it is in political center. So initially that Kachap Ghatra were the kings who conquered this area and they built so beautiful palaces and fort in this area. Then the Tomars in Tomraj, you can say that in 14th century they ruled in this area. But the most famous king in Tomars were Mansingh. So Mansingh did construction in this fort, and the Man Mandir is one of the most beautiful palace in this fort, and it has beautiful color. Like you can see the color in the photograph. So beautiful enamel is there with blue, turquoise blue, green, and yellow. A lot of colorful things are also there, like parrot, trees, lions, leopard. All different paintings are also nicely depicted on the wall of this fort and palace. Beside of that, you can see beautiful temples like Sajbahu temple. With the one more temple is there called Telika Mandir. And then rock cuts are there. When you will coming down to the fort, you will see beautiful Jain rock cuts. Huge rock cuts are there. One rock cut is about more than 21 feet tall. So huge rock cuts are there. Then after the Scindias ruled, after about 17th, 18th century AD, the Scindias start ruling in this area. So they created some beautiful palaces. So Jaivilas Palace, now converted as a museum, is another beautiful building. Then after, there is a one less known palace which is called Gojiri Mahal. So I'm going to talk about this less known building. So you're watching beautiful building, that's the Gojiri Mahal. Here I have the painting of Raja Mansingh. And there is another love story which is not explained by the people. It was a great love between a king and a tribal girl. So actually there was a girl, she was doing some kind of mischief, or she was just playing with the buffalo. And one buffalo was very upset and angry. At that time, that King Mansingh entered in that area, and he just realized that girl is so strong, she controlled that buffalo. And she was also very beautiful, and her eyes are like deer. So he impressed on that lady, a girl, he asked to marry. So Mragnani said, as she said, I'm ready to marry with you, but I have 3 conditions. One is that after marriage, I will always live with you. Second, because the reason of my beauty is the beauty of the water of my town. So every day I want the water from my town. So you should do some arrangement. For that, the last one was that I should have my own separate palace. So carrying water from ground to the fort, it was very difficult. So then king decided to construct a palace, a private palace of that queen on the ground or on the lower part of the hill. And still we have a kind of the clay pipe from that village to this building. Still that is existing. Second thing is that it has a big basement where we have a lot of beautiful statues. And if I will talk about another aspect of this king and queen, they have a great interest in music. So after Tansen, he was the second person who also helped to enhance the classical music in Gwalior. So he had a great love with his wife. So he created a lot of ragas. So all those ragas and classic music are called Gurjari Todi or Gurjari Malhar, like that. So because a lot of people especially in Maharashtra love the classical music, and they learn a lot of classical ragas, so maybe they will, this information will be new for them. So all those Gujari music are from Gwalior. Then after, as I said earlier, here we're watching In this state, we have the two musical gharanas, so Gavalir Gharana and Mayer Gharana is there. Now I'm leaving this area and moving another area. Temple Treat, Khajuraho, Panna National Park, and Chitrakoot. So already we discussed a lot about Khajuraho. So I will not go in any explanation of this town. It is from 10th, 11th century. It has beautiful temples. Like there were 85. From 85, or not 25 are remain, and they are dedicated to Hindu or Jain temples. Local people known or around the world, these temples known for erotic art. And every year from 20th Feb to 25th Feb, we have classical dance festival. And it was the first classical dance festival in India called Khajuraho Dance Festival. But many people visit in Khajuraho, but they never visit a miracle of nature. We have the beautiful site called Run. You're watching the landscape, you are watching the rock. It is a magma, and the river Ken passes through these rocks and makes beautiful scenic beauty with waterfall. So during the rainy season, if you will come, you will be shocked because we just not have the one waterfall. Thousands of water fountains comes from the rock down and creating beautiful view in this area. So if you are in Khajuraho and you want to see some geographical miracle, just try to visit this site called Rani Waterfall. I call it the Great Canyon of India because landscape is beautiful with jungle and some wildlife. Panna is called Emerald. So hardly 45 kilometers away from Khajuraho, there's a town called Panna. So when you are just want to visit to Panna, you will cross a river called Ken. On the bank of Ken, there is Panna National Park. And about the Panna National Park, the total area of this park is 542.67 square kilometer. So it's a massive park. The most beautiful story of this park is this. In 2009, we lost or posed all the tiger. It was with the zero tiger. Then a new technique was developed. We just took 3 different tigers from different national parks, tiger reserves. So like 2 tigers came from Bandhav and the male came from Kanna. But by the mistake, he was homesick tiger. So he left the park. So there was not any option. Then what the local naturalists did or forest officers did, they developed new technique. They just took the urine of tigers and spread around the jungle. So in the next time when that tiger was projected in this tiger park, he smelled that urine and realized that I'm not alone in this jungle. A lot of beautiful tigers are living in this park. So then he started searching them. Then he met with T1. So in 2007, then again the 3 cubs came in this park. So then they became the 6. Now we have about 55 tigers again in this park. So it's something very miraculous because it is a very natural habitat for the tiger. So when you are in Khajuraho, you can visit to Panna National Park, you can visit to Diamond Mine. But in the next slide, I'm talking about the town called Panna. So you are in very close to Khajuraho, but you are missing a lot of things. That's why I'm going to talk about the Panna. Beauty of Panna is that, as I said earlier, here we have one temple, which is called Muhammadi Prana Temple. Ma'am, my voice is clear? That's fine. So Muhammadi Prana Temple. The beauty of this temple is it is following one very special kind of cult or religion. They worship the Lord Krishna, but there is no idol. They don't worship any god and goddesses. So there was one person, his name was Prananath. He, as per this legend, he adopted, when he visited in Arab, he adopted Islam. He became a Muslim person. But for the search of diamond, he visited in this area, the Panna area, and he highly influenced with the cult, with the Krishna. So he decided to start own new religion. So in the Pranami cult, they worship the flute of Krishna with the crown and the dress of Radha. So they believe that Krishna is the omniscient. He's a kind of omnipresent God. There should be not any depiction of the God. So they worship him with the flute. And every, like the Muslim 5 days prayer, the 5 prayers in a day, so they do the same. And during the Sharad Purnima, all pranamis just come over here to conduct the ritual. And when the Muhammadi Prana was died, he was not cremated, he was buried. So you can say that it is a cocktail, it is a combination of Hindu Islamic uh, uh, traditions or the beliefs. So you can say that Panna is the Kaaba of Pranami Sampradaya. So in every year in the month of Kartik, during Sharad Purnima, hundreds of people visit over here. Then second, you're watching the Baldao temple. So the king of Panna were very interested about Western architecture. So you're watching Baldao temple architecture is very symmetrical, like a church. So it is very much like Roman architecture with Gothic plan or Gothic architecture. Looks like a church, but it's a Baldao temple. And I cannot control myself when people are talking about that's the Bhimbetka. Bhimbetka is a World Heritage Site for prehistoric painting. And personally, I visited another site that's very close to Panna. It's hardly 20 kilometers away from the Panna. It's called Brahaspati Kund. It's a natural site. It has beautiful fountains or the waterfalls. With these rock paintings, we have moved more than 15 rock shelters around the waterfall with diamond mining. So if you will visit over here, you can see the diamond mining, you can see the waterfall, and you can see the rock paintings. And still, these rock paintings are not defined. These are not discussed. These are not explained. So may I request the next time, if someone have any knowledge about these rock paintings, please come and just study about these rock paintings. Now I'm moving towards the natural wonder. So here I mentioned about the 5 important. Those are in very specific area like Panna National Park, Marble Rocks at Beda Ghat and Bandhav, Garh National Park and Pench National Park and Amarkantak, all are very close to Jabalpur. So you can just come to Jabalpur, and from Jabalpur, you can visit around these national park and different places. Here I'm talking about the wildlife. So in Madhya Pradesh, we have the 9 national parks, 6 tiger reserve, 25 wildlife sanctuaries, forest area is 95,000 square kilometer, protected forest area is 11,000 square kilometer, and this is known as a tiger estate. And also, as you can see in the photo, the Mowgli is sitting with his mother. Then after, it is another scenic beauty of this town called Marble Rock. A lot of movies, like the latest one was a movie of Shah Rukh Khan, or that Mohenjo-daro that was picturized over here. It has a very romantic side. So if you will enjoy the boat ride in this Marble Rock Canyon, you will be really feel very romantic and very emotional. At the same time, the boat driver or the boatman of this place is fantastic. I never seen this kind of guide. The way they just portray, they explain this area, it's a really great fun. So if you are in Jabalpur, just try to visit, and I hope you will enjoy this area. Then here we have the 2 Yoginis temple. So upper one is the most famous Yogini temple of central India, is called the Chausat Yogini temple, Bheda Ghat. You're watching Shiva temple in the center. Then more than 81 small shells are around, where we have the different figure of yoginis. And the lower one, which people ask that the Indian Parliament design was took from this Yogini temple. It is from Mitavali. It is very close to Gavalia. So it's Chausat Yogini temple of Mitavali. Then after, if you are going to Indore, very close to Indore, we have 5 places like Ujjain, Indore, Mandu, Omkareshwar, and Maheshwar. So in the next slide, you can see it is Ujjain. If I'm going to talk about Ujjain, as I said, the Mahakaleshwar means the God is the death, someone who is beyond the death, that is called the Lord Shiva. And some people are saying it is a point which is called the Greenwich of India. So like longitude and latitude both just join over this point. That is the reason the Mahakali is living over here. At the same time, even later in period, Jai Singh, who constructed many Jantar Mantar around the country, he constructed one Jantar Mantar in Ujjain. Why we have this Mahakumbh over here? Reason is that due to its geographical condition. So it is the only place where we have Singhast Mahakumbh. It is the place when the moon moves in Singh Rasi and the Kumbh in Vraspati, then that auspicious ceremony conducts in Ujjain. So it is its own importance. Then after, if you will see, notice that I'm going on the next slide. Look at over here. The quality or the beauty of this temple, the Mahakaleshwar temple, is not the architecture, its own story, but we have the two very special, we conduct two special activities in this temple. One is called Bhasma Arati. It is the only temple in India in which in early morning, before the prayer, we offer the Bhasma, the ash. And people are saying earlier, the ash of the real dead body, cremated body, was spraying around this lingam, Shivlingam. But now it is not possible. So now what they do, they are using a lot of herbal mixture, which is mentioned in our holy text. So they produce of ash of those stuff. Then they spray at the morning. So every morning, 4 a.m., the Bhasmarti conducts, and then after the rest ritual starts in this temple. And the second thing is that every year during this Shravan Mas, we have the Mahakalki Savari. So there's a one special figure of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva comes out from his temple to the street. And people just enjoy the love of God. So it is something very special about this place. Then you're watching a goddess over here. It is called Har Siddhi. So whenever any problem you have in your life, you can visit over here. By the blessing of Har Siddhi, your all obstacles will remove and you will get the Siddhi. The most important thing was that when the Vikramaditya was in trouble with Betal Bhatta, or Betal, you know the story of Betal Pachisi. So all the time that obstacle was coming, and then the Betal said, you can't defeat me without the blessing of the goddess. So then he said, opposite to the goddess, then he conquered the Betala. Then all disturbance was settled. Then I'm moving on the next station. It's a Omkareshwar, just on the bank of beautiful river Narmada. This is a link. So all important auspicious days of Shivas are conducted in this one. Then now I'm in hurry now. Now I have 7 minutes, so I have to complete the rest of this. So it's a Mandu. So we are watching beautiful building of Rani Rupmati and Baj Bahadur. You know this very popular story of Rani Rupmati and Baj Bahadur. It has beautiful palace called Jahaz Mahal. Looks like ship is anchored on an ocean. Hindola Mahal is there. Jama Masjid is there. Hoshang Sa Tomb. You're watching a beautiful structure with marble.
Mr. Shukla, I'll just
Yes,
you can take extra 10 minutes, no issues. Don't hurry up. Let us
thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That it's a great pleasure for me, sir. So about Mandu, now I'm relaxed now. My voice will be relaxed now. Thank you, sir. So when we're talking about the Taj Mahal, so people say that Taj Mahal, then the baby Taj, these are the structure of marble. But I'm sorry to say, the first structure on marble was constructed in central India. That was Husang Shah Ka Maqbara. It is properly tiled as the Taj Mahal was tiled with marble blocks. Actually, the whole structure, like Taj Mahal or baby's Taj and this one, all those were not constructed with the marble blocks. The main building was constructed with bricks and mortar, but the wall of that structure is tiled with marble. So idea of marble structure came from Mandu. Then after, as I was talking, the central India is a paradise for the silk, for the weaving. And some people are saying the patronage of silk weaving goes to Marathas. But I'm sorry to say, because Chanderi was on the way of silk route. So already the silk weaving was there. So when the Marathas conquered that area, Chanderi area, they got this idea, and they developed own indigenous weaving style. So what you will see on the weaving pattern or design, which were used in Maratha or Maratha dress pattern, or special in their gowns and in their saris, that is their special style. But the weaving style was started from Chanderi, and the Bagh painting have another special thing in this area. Then look at this. If you are in Bhopal and you are visiting Sanchi, and if you are not visiting Udaygiri caves, then you are missing a miracle of Guptas. You're watching beautiful statue of Nar Varaha. Nar is called the human, Varaha is the wild boar. So it's a beautiful Nar Varaha in which he is keeping Prithvi on his shoulder, and the Patal Devata or Nag Devata sitting on his foot. And he is lifting up the goddess from the nether world to the air. And look at the way he's standing. And it is from 6th century AD, from the Ramagupta. And all different, like Dwadas Adityas, Rudras, and all different god and goddesses. Like it's a big panel with beautiful story from Varaha Puran is mentioned over here. And another direction, when you will move, it is from the local city, about the Bhopal. So because Raja Bhoj was living in Bhojpur, that's why it is called the Bhopal, because it is made with two words, Bhoj, Tal. So initially this town was known as a Bhoj Tal, the big lake was known as a Bhoj Tal, but later in period, from the Bhoj, Ja has just escaped from the Tal, all those ties escaped. So Bhopal, a new name came over here. But we can see this city as a city of lakes. So upper lake is there and the lower lake is there. So middle of upper lake, we installed this new statue of Raja Bhoj. Then here we have another masjid called Tajul Masjid, and one of the biggest museum of Asia for anthropology is in Bhopal. It's called Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Manav Sangrahalaya. If you want to really understand about the travel or anthropology of this country, you should visit. You will find all the houses, lifestyle, utensils, ornaments, dress material, all those things you can experience in this museum. And once Bharat Bhavan was a center for great artisan, sculptor, poets, dramatist, or the stage player, all important people or personalities were living at Bharat Bhavan. And also we have one wild sanctuary or a national park, now it's called Van Vihar. So you can enjoy the nature also in this city. But the Buddhism started in India, but it was moved to rest part of the world from Sanchi. So Ashoka's son Mahendra and daughter Sangamitra were the first missionaries who carried the ashes of Buddha with branch of people, a tree of people. They went to Sri Lanka, then the Buddhism was moved around the world. So here you're watching the stupa number 1. It is another World Heritage Site. It is a beautiful depiction of the Kshetrapalas and the stories of Jatakas, are beautifully carved. And it is a one beautiful architecture, Buddhist architecture. So your architecture study will not complete without Sanchi. Then here you're watching a magnificent Shivlingam. So I was talking about the Shivlingam of Khajuraho. The height of that Shivlingam is 27 feet. It is a little bit bigger than that. So like Dhanga was made the lingam at Khajuraho. So Raja Bhoj constructed this Bhojpur temple in this area. So these two are the massive Shivlingam in this country. So I believe that the Sadhguru, Sri Vasudeva, highly impressed with these Shivlingam. That's why he constructed Dhyanlingam at the Coimbatore. Then it is another World Heritage Site in this state called Bhimbetka. And from Mesolithic period to historical period, or different kind of caves we have. So we have the 5 clusters in this area. And I want to show one thing. I'm very lucky today. You can see one certificate in my hand. Very soon, Madhya Pradesh will introduce with more heritage site, World Heritage Site. So now there's a group of people, they are training the guides how you should help us to find more sites for UNESCO. You should know the norm and nomenclature for the UNESCO. So some group of trainees, the trainer came over here, and they invited the guides from Khajuraho, from Kana, from Bandhavgarh, from Jabalpur, from Orcha, to train us to understand what is called the UNESCO site and how you should maintain that site. So I got the certificate from these people. That's the reason I just left Khajuraho. I came over here on the 8th, and I just participated in this training, and I got the certificate. Then here is called the Queen of Satpura. Satpura ki Rani Pachmadi. It has Bee Fall, Jatasangar Caves, Pandav Caves, Dhupgarh, Handi Kho, and Madhav Hills. So if you are really very close to Jabalpur, please visit the Pachmadi. It's a beautiful hill station. So in this big state, in very limited time, I just tried to explain my narration. Really, I'm a bit tired and confused too, because there are so many things on my mind. So I apologize for all those problems. Or if my language was not proper, because I'm a bit tired too. So I apologize from all those hurriness. I hope you enjoyed these sessions too. So now over to Parul ma'am. If anyone have any question, they can ask the question.
Yeah,
Or
before
here,
that, thank you, Mr. Shukla, for that very uh, informative session, and to taking us within an hour across the huge state of Madhya Pradesh. I know one hour is not sufficient when it covers, but
sir,
still you managed to catch hold of of some of the important sites, and it was really nice to hear a couple of
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
folk tales behind some of these sites, etc. While we have spoken about the tangible heritage, we have seen anything. Madhya Pradesh also has some amazing intangible heritage in terms of its food, its culture,
Yes, sir.
especially with you already spoke about the gharanas,
Yes,
but
sir.
then the food. If you can tell something about the food of Madhya Pradesh.
Sir. So, thank you, sir. Really, Madhya Pradesh, as I said in my first clip, so we are divided in 5 different regions: Malwa, Bundelkhand, Bagelkhand, and then after Chambal. So actually, food habits of each and every state depends on their surroundings. So like Malwa is very rich with the grains, so their food is very rich. So like dal bati, bafda, all those foods are from Malwa region. But the Bundelkhand and Bagelkhand is very dry region. So our food is very different. And some people will be just very interesting to know that we have one saying, Mahua, Meva, Beer, Kaliba, Gulguch, Badi Mithai, Je तीनों तुम्हें खाने हो तो कर लो गुड़ाने में सगाई. The meaning of this, if you are interested in mahua or the meva, like which we call the chironzi, beer, and the kaleva, if you want very rich breakfast, kaleva, and then we make one very special dish in this area, which we call murka. Murka is very much like something is produced in Gavalier. I'm missing the name of that. So what we do, we use that the beer, sorry, not the mahua, and the til. We mix all with these things with the good, and then we make that special powder. So especially in the winter season, if you will take hardly one small bowl, it will be enough for the full day. And about the chicken and mutton, we have a special royal cuisines, especially in Bhopal region. We have the Bhopali cuisine, and also in the Chambal region we have mustard oil. We produce a lot of mustard oil. So our food is very rich with the curries. We have a lot of big variety of curries. So like people have the gatta curry in Rajasthan, we also have the same curries over here. We also make the same stuff with the gatta curry and curry. Curry is also very important in our culture with bara. So bara is about, it is a black lentil toward that's a black lentil with the curd, yogurt. So we make some kind of now I'm tired enough, so I'm not getting the proper word. So the baras is also very important. When you are in Madhya Pradesh, especially in central India, you will get a thali. In that thali, you will get a dal, curry, bara, some sweet with some dry vegetables, especially bhata. Uh, Began ka bharta is very famous because bhata gakariya is very common in this area. If you are in the Nimad area, then you will enjoy this choki ba. That's it. Bati churma, and bafli is very famous in that area. So food is depends on the region, different region of this state. Over to Parul, ma'am.
Yeah, one more question again coming to Orcha.
Sir.
About there are the stories going around, the ghost stories of Orcha. Is it true, or what is the
Oh,
uh,
sir. Sir, actually, it is true. It is
okay,
true.
okay.
Still, the local, each and every village of this state of Bundelkhand has a one platform called Chabutra, and
Mm,
above that Chabutra we have one horse,
mm,
and that horse is dedicated to Prince of this state or this city called Hardol.
okay,
So as I said, that there was a relationship between the brother-in-law and sister-in-law, because the Mughal could not, they were not succeeded to conquer this state due to this prince. So what they did, they spread a conspiracy in this state. There's a wrong relation between the prince and the sister-in-law. Sister-in-law. So then the king said, you should give poisonous food to him. For the purity of the relations, he offered the poisonous meal to the prince, and he took. And later in period, when his sister came, as per the Hindu culture, when she is going marriage for her daughter, she asked some blessings from the brother. So when she came over here, he found his brother is died. So she started crying at the place where the prince was cremated. So then that the Akashwani was happened. The prince said, "Don't worry, I am here, and I will come and I will conduct all that ritual." So really, it was happened in the time, and still people have a lot of emotions. So what happened whenever any Hindu marriage is going on this area, we first send the card in Orcha. Second, we do that ritual in our home. So without invitation of Hardol and without doing that ritual, the marriage in this area cannot be completed.
thank you. Yeah,
Madam,
Parul. Yeah, any other questions, Parul? You would on the chat?
No, sir, we don't see any.
And there's a question from Mrs. Mashanta Romani. She says, I know of lot of Bohirs who make a pilgrimage to Burhanpur. Would like to know more about it. And also, Mumtaz Mahal passed away in
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Burhanpur. Yeah,
yeah,
would you like
yeah,
to
yeah,
say
yeah.
something on that?
Sir, actually, I never been in Burhanpur.
Oh,
I'm very sorry. I never been in Burhanpur, so I don't have much more knowledge. Yes,
acha.
I know this thing. She was died over there. First, she was buried in Burhanpur, and after 6 months, her body was shifted from Burhanpur to the Taj Mahal. That's that's the fact which I know.
Fine. We will reply to other questions regarding more webinars on MP, etc., and also on Chanderi. We have noted that on the chat.
Sir, Sam, I'm ready for that. Whenever you will ask me, I am ready for all kind of different kind of webinar. It is really great
Yeah.
pleasure for me. And it's a great time
Uh,
with you, sir.
Also, if we can look at some lesser known places, not only in MP, other places also, there is again a request from Mrs. Mashanta Romani. We will try to accommodate that.
So, sir, when you
And
have an inquiry, you can just ask me. I'm ready for that.
right, fine. And once again, I thank you for taking this time out, researching in spite of your training going on in Orcha and coming in to tell the story for us. And of course, the support of Parul from Safari Plus, who is kind of uh, giving all the technical support. It is this webinar has not have been success. Thank you, Parul, for taking this forward. And we will now again uh, come back with next episode from Ms. Daya Sudama, who will be talking to us on the foot 12th of November at the same time. Please stay tuned in. And once again, thanks to everybody who had joined in today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone, to
Yes.
stay with me. Thanks a lot, Parul ma'am. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.